Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you're joining us from. We are so excited to have all of you here to chat with us today. My name is James McCarty. I am the Associate Director of Admissions here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. And again, we're thrilled to have you here with us today to talk a little bit more and find out more information on our Master of Science in Education, the International Teaching and Global Leadership Cohort, or as you'll hear us refer to it, ITGL, just to shorten and abbreviate that a little bit. I always like to kick things off and just say congratulations. I think that this is an incredible first step for all of you to look into the next step in your educational journey. And we are thrilled to have you here with us. And we're excited that you're thinking about continuing that next step with us here at Johns Hopkins. I always like to stress my portion talking about admissions. You'll hear this a little bit more later, but I think I can speak for all of us when I say that you are never, ever going through this process alone. I know it can seem very scary, possibly daunting, overwhelming, and there's a lot of emotions that probably come with thinking about the next step in your educational journey, but know that you are never, ever going through this process alone, and we are here with you every step of the way. Before we kick in and start the presentation today, just some general housekeeping items. So today's session is being recorded, and we will send out the recording of today's session probably about 7 to 10 days after today. The recording will be edited by our IT department, and we will send that out to all of you to re-review the webinar at a later date. So please keep an eye on your email for that. We have a number of guests with us today, and I will introduce them in just a moment. But as you can see, we will talk about an overview of the ITGL program, talk about admission requirements, tuition and fees, and we'll also have time at the very end for a Q&A. I'm sure many of you are probably very familiar with Zoom. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see that Q&A function. Please feel free as we go through today. We want you to ask any and every question that comes to mind. Again, we are here to help and support you through this journey. And we do want to make this an informal discussion at the very end. So please feel free to type any questions that you have into the Q&A, and we will save those till the end to answer those in a live format. So please feel free to take advantage. At Johns Hopkins, just to give you an overview, we are a massive world-renowned institution. We're very excited. We are currently, we have 9 different divisions within the Johns Hopkins University, and we're very excited that we are adding another that you don't see here on this screen. There will also be another addition in our School of Government and Politics, which was just announced last week. So this is exciting new information for us here at Johns Hopkins. But as you can see, the School of Education, we are one of many units that comprise the Johns Hopkins University as a whole. Just some of the fast facts and information. You can see that we have just over 1,200 students total here at the School of Education. And I think that the important takeaway looking at this slide is the connection that you're going to have with the world-renowned faculty and researchers that comprise the School of Education here at Johns Hopkins. We really take pride in working very closely with our students and also the output of research that takes place here at Johns Hopkins. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my colleagues with us today. So first, we have Dr. Jennifer Adams. She's the faculty lead for the Master of Science in Education, International Teaching and Global Leadership program. Dr. Adams earned her master's and doctoral degrees from Harvard University, where she was a Spencer Foundation Research and Training Fellow. Dr. Adams has over 20 years of experience working in the field of global education as a teacher, school leader, and educational researcher in East Asia, including Taiwan, China, and Hong Kong. Her research identifies and investigates educational opportunity, salient dimensions of children's and school experiences in rural communities, and the educational impact of social, demographic, and economic shifts associated with rapid globalization and development, primarily in China. Also with us today, we have Ms. Betsy Mayo. She is the program administrator for the ITGL program. Her prior experience includes being the associate dean at the School of Education, the vice president at Thompson Prometric, the director at the School of Education, and the director of development at Stevenson College. So thank you to both my colleagues for being here with us today, and I will pass things off to Jennifer. Thank you, and take it away.
Thanks so much for that introduction, James, and thanks to all of you for being here. We're really excited to have you with us and for you to learn more about the ITGL program. I wanted just to follow up a little bit about with some information about myself. So I am the director of ITGL, and I've just come to Johns Hopkins this past July, so I'm new to the program. As James mentioned, I have more than 20 years of experience in global and international education, doing much work in China, but I've also was recently in Indonesia on a Fulbright and also have been doing some work in Israel. I come to this position at Hopkins after being the program director at Drexel University and also a faculty member at Stanford University in global ed. And so I've been thinking about these ideas for a long time, and I'm really excited to share them with you here at Johns Hopkins. A little about the School of Education. Again, I'm new here, so I'm learning this as I go along. But I think it's really important to think about the position of the School of Education within several layers of communities. And so the School of Education here at Johns Hopkins collaborates with local school districts, with local organizations and agencies. We care about what's happening in the education sector all around us here in Baltimore, and students in the ITGL program are busy engaging in extended learning experiences in Baltimore schools, educational organizations, and other educational contexts here in Baltimore locally, also a little bit wider in the state of Maryland. And then, of course, because of the nature of our program, we're really interested in having a global impact and creating global networks of transformative educational leaders. James, great, thank you. So the objective of the ITGL program really is to prepare innovative leaders to lead transformations in schools, school systems, and other fast-changing educational environments around the world. So our graduates are working in many sectors. They might be working in ed policy. They might be working in the private sector. They might start their own business. They could be in a school. They could be in another type of nonprofit organization associated with education. So really thinking about education and educational leadership in a broad, wide-ranging context. And with that in mind, what we do in our coursework is provide both core classes, which focus on building sort of a solid foundation in content knowledge related to education, such as educational leadership, mind-brain science, research methods, global education policy, really thinking about those core things that all global educational leaders should know. And then we enhance that by having students actually pick a focus area, and we'll talk about those in a few more slides, where they can develop more of an in-depth knowledge in a specific focus area related to education. And we do all of this, sort of linking both content knowledge and educational practice in a 3-semester, 11th-month program that includes both courses and then also applied experiences. So why pursue an ITGL degree at Johns Hopkins? There are many, many reasons, but I'm just going to go over a few of some of the most important ones here. So I think one reason is the 1-year aspect of the program. It is a 33-credit, 1-year master's program that's really intensive. I think it provides you your degree in a relatively short, compared to some other master's programs that might take 18 months or 24 months to complete period of time. And I think also, not surprisingly, associated with that 1-year experience is that it's a very intensive experience where you're really focusing on your coursework and focusing on educational experiences to help you think about education with a cohort of classmates that also are just as dedicated to this sort of intense experience learning about education. So the 1-year cohort intensive experience, I think, is a really key dimension of our program. Leadership in your field. So one of the things that I think that many people who are interested in the field of education might not think enough about is the role of leadership and reflection on your own experience in terms of the type of leader you are, the type of leader you might want to be. In order to have an impact, I think in education in any space, whether we're talking globally or not, in any type of educational sector, we really need our students to be thinking about what type of leader they'll be when they graduate. How do they actually act as a catalyst for change and transformation in education? So throughout our program, in addition to thinking about how do I learn all the educational expertise that I need to make this type of change, we really spend a lot of time thinking about and teaching about different leadership framework and styles and reflections to make sure that when you leave, that you're in a position to actually lead change that's needed in the education sector. Our network of global alumni. So this is really important. Johns Hopkins alumni are all over the world. I'm actually headed myself to both Thailand and Vietnam this weekend to interact with some of our alumni. So as a graduate of our program, you will become a part of a large alumni network wherever you are. And then even more specifically, one of the goals of the ITGL program is to create this dynamic network of global leaders in education so that when you leave, you'll be able to pick up the phone and talk to an alumni of the ITGL program wherever they are to talk about sort of pressing educational problems that you might be confronting in your own career. Extended learning, really, really important, unique, and innovative part of the program that we have here. And so all of our students actually engage in what we call an extended learning opportunity for about 4 to 6 hours a week. They spend time actually in a school, an educational organization, potentially a company that might be, if they're an entrepreneur, or a digital learning technology type company. It's really just a broad educational context that helps students get some hands-on experience in the education sector. This applied experience might help them later when they graduate, thinking about what type of job that they want to pursue or how to pursue an OTP experience. I think one of the other aspects of this program that when we think about extended learning is that some people come to this program without a lot of experience in the US education sector, and we talk about those experiences in our courses. Extended learning allows our students to think about what they're learning in the classroom and actually apply it and sort of filter it through the context of whatever extended learning experience they have. So every student has one of these experiences during the fall and spring semester. Sometimes they last the whole semester, the whole calendar year, one experience. Sometimes they will do 2 separate ones. And then finally, esteemed faculty here at the School of Education. We have amazing faculty working in all different sectors of the educational context. We have several research centers. Many of our students engage in research as some of their extended learning opportunities. And so there's just a real opportunity to learn about education from some of the really giants in the field. So I guess in short, I'm going to hit a couple of things that I may have missed here. So it's a 1-year, 33 credit for most of our focus areas, 35 credit, but still 1-year program, 11 months for the TEFL focus area. All of our classes are in-person, face-to-face classes that take place on the Homewood campus here in Baltimore. Our cohort of students for this current academic year is 221 students. So you'll be entering into a large network of alumni. And again, the program takes 1 academic year to complete. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the focus areas. So for the students that would be coming in the 24-25 academic year, there are 5 focus areas that you can choose from. And in these focus areas, it's really an area where you're sort of pursuing this knowledge like in an in-depth way. Every semester, fall, spring, and summer, you will have your core classes, but then you'll be taking a focus area course to help develop expertise in this area. And you'll be with the cohort of students who have chosen those focus area classes as well. So we have focus areas in creativity and innovation, digital age teaching and learning, early childhood, entrepreneur and education, and then teaching English as a foreign language. And so all of these focus areas provide, I would say, a pretty comprehensive overview of the sort of key knowledge that you might need if you intend to pursue an educational or leadership or business career in any of these areas. And so I want you to think about them in a little bit of a broad, comprehensive way. So for example, when we think about early childhood, you might be developing expertise in early childhood and development. That doesn't necessarily mean that you might only work as a preschool teacher. You might, but you might also open an early childhood center, or you might start a company that's focused on parenting and development education. You may end up working in a policy space. And so each of these focus areas really provide you the sort of key knowledge about these different topics, but the knowledge can be applied in different ways to professional opportunities after you leave the program. Advantages of the program. So here's some things that set our program here at Johns Hopkins apart. This is a cohort program, and because of that, students are here together, taking classes together all year. We really have a specialized orientation for international students. We spend a lot of time thinking about the best ways to facilitate cultural exchange and also enrichment activities for students who are new to the United States or want to learn more about the local area around us. We have support for professional growth and sort of career counseling with the program. I think that there's a really important blend of formal classwork and informal learning that takes place in the groups that develop around the different focus areas, the work students do with their advisors, opportunities to get involved in like research activities on campus, and of course, extended learning. We have language and tutoring support services for students, and then also work to try to help students prepare and support their transition if they want to remain in the US for a year doing OPT. Important question. I know that many of you think really seriously about pursuing a master's degree, and there are a lot of choices that are in front of you. And you think, well, what am I going to do with this degree in ITGL when I finish it? And I think this is really important to think about. I think I was a teacher, for 5 years before I entered graduate school for my master's degree. And I think even at that time, I didn't understand how comprehensive and how many different opportunities there existed for careers in global and international education. And I would say that since I'm old, that was 20 years ago or more, that the space has evolved even more, that there are so many different things that you can do with a degree in global education, which really is what we're talking about when we're thinking about international teaching and global leadership. Many of the world's problems, whether we think about climate change, peace education, social justice, they will be addressed through this space of education. And so many of our graduates may turn out to be like leaders or founders of specialized pre-K through 12 schools that really are thinking about what should education look like in the 21st century? How do we innovate? How do we learn? How do we create a better future? We also have students that are graduates from our program that end up directors of different types of multinational educational businesses. People might become sort of curriculum and programming innovators, leaders or creators at ed tech startups, particularly post-COVID. The role of technology and instructional design is a career space that's expanding throughout the world. Clearly, we have students here that are interested in research who may lead and become research associates for different international development or nonprofit organizations. Teacher leaders related to language programs or other types of socio-emotional learning programs. And then we have students who've actually graduated and become different types of international education consultants. So I'm going to really encourage you all to think about all the different things that you could do with a degree in ITGL. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit more specifically about our curriculum structure. So I've mentioned that we have core classes and then also focus area classes. Some of these courses are the courses that are requirements for the Masters of Science in Education. If you look above, we show the different credits that we require the students to take during fall, spring, and summer. So you can see also that we have extended learning, both fall and spring semester, which I've discussed. You also can see that in the fall semester, you are 3 credits lower than in the spring semester. And that's really because we're trying to help you with your transition to campus, raise your level of sort of graduate level critical thinking, writing, speaking, putting all that time in the fall to prepare you for an even more rigorous schedule in the spring. You'll see that there's a little bit of a lighter schedule in the summer, partially because that's a little bit of a condensed time period, but also because you'll be spending time working on your capstone project, which is a digital portfolio and presentation. And so this really just provides like an overview of the way this year is structured academically. You're welcome also to visit our cohort page that provides more information about the courses and also about extended learning and the portfolio in your own time. And then I'm just going to pause here for a minute. I don't want to read these for you, but both here on this slide and also on the cohort site that we just mentioned, you can hear from current and former students. Here are a few testimonials about their experience in the program, but also on our cohort website that we just mentioned, there are many former ITGL students who are ambassadors of our program that would be happy to connect with you if you want to learn more information about their experiences.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. All right, so transitioning ever so slightly and jumping into some of the admissions details. But before I do that, I do want to again encourage everyone that we have the Q&A available. So feel free to ask any questions. I see that we do have a few already, but just wanted to put a friendly reminder out there to be sure to ask us any questions that come to mind. I also want to point out, I think it's exciting for us, for myself and Jennifer and Betsy, just looking through who's registered to attend today. We have individuals from 23 different countries across the globe. And I think that really speaks volumes of just, you know, the benefit to kind of that global learning and understanding, and how, you know, here at Johns Hopkins, you can really connect with individuals truly from all across the globe through this educational pathway that lies ahead for you. So again, transitioning now ever so slightly, talking through the admission requirements. So what you see on your screen here are just the basics of what we look for to be considered a completed applicant. So just going through the list very quickly. So the online application form, if you've been following us and checking out our website for a while now, you probably have noticed within the last few weeks that our website has been updated. And now if you log into our website and at the bottom of any admissions page, there is a big gold box at the bottom. At the bottom of every admissions page in that gold box, there is a link to be able to start an application. So that is the best place to go to kick this process off and begin your application. It is done completely online. You can see that there's also an $80 application fee that you'll pay as an applicant to our program. We ask for a updated resume or CV, and also an essay. I get a lot of questions about the essay, and I always tell students that this is an opportunity for you to talk about your passions. Why are you interested in our program in Johns Hopkins? Why would you be a good fit? And joking, but still being serious, I always say this is not a time to be humble. You want to share with us why you think you would be a stellar candidate for our program, and mentioning some of those pieces within your essay. We also ask for 2 letters of recommendation, and very similarly to what I had just mentioned with your essay, ideally, I get a lot of students that ask, who should I ask to recommend, to be a recommender for me? And again, you want the 2 individuals that are going to represent you to the best ability. Ideally, if possible, we always encourage for at least one of those letters of recommendation to be from someone that works in an academic setting. Being that you're applying to a graduate degree, we do like to see at least someone be able to talk about your ability, your skill set, if you will, as a student. So your ability to conduct research, scholarly writing, working together in groups. I think those are all important skill sets to highlight through at least one of your letters of recommendation. Also, official transcripts. I'll talk a little bit more about those transcripts on our next page. But for any student that has transcripts, has done any coursework outside of the US, Canada, or the UK, we do ask for an evaluation of your transcript. And I apologize, I misspoke there. It's the US or Canada. So if you've done any coursework outside of the US or English-speaking Canada, we do ask for an evaluation of your official transcripts. Through our website. Again, if you click on the admissions tab at the top, there is a whole web page dedicated just for international students, and it talks through the international transcript process. But essentially what will happen, there are roughly 7 different agencies that we recommend and encourage you to work through, where you'll have your transcripts evaluated. You will send them your official transcripts. That company will make the evaluation, and then they will send us, Johns Hopkins, the evaluation following. So we encourage you to work through one of those 7 companies. You do want to make sure that you select a course-by-course evaluation. That is very important. And lastly, when it comes to that evaluation, just make sure that it is sent to us at the School of Education at Johns Hopkins. Again, as I mentioned at the start of the program, we are a very large institution, and even geographically, we are not all in the same place as far as the schools within Johns Hopkins. So you want to make sure that everything is sent directly to us at the School of Education, and those evaluations in many cases are sent virtually. But just, again, make sure that it goes directly to us. You'll see that there is a short video screening, which is about 8 to 10 minutes in length. And then you'll also make the selection of your focus area or your area of interest within the application. As far as the application timeline goes, so you can see some important dates here on the screen. So the application deadline for the Global Leader Scholar for the Global Leader Scholar Award consideration is February 1st. 2024. You'll want to submit a completed application by April 19th, and the deadline to schedule your video screening appointment is April 12th. So 1 week before that final application deadline. We do encourage you to begin this process as soon as possible. There is no need to wait until those deadlines. You can begin this process now and continue working through. So it's good to have those deadlines and understand when to have everything in by. But again, please feel free. Do not wait. Don't hesitate. You can begin that process now. As far as for international applicants, there is an English language proficiency component to our application. So in many instances, we ask students to submit either an IELTS or a TOEFL score as a component to your application. There are some waivers that are a possibility for some of you. So if you've studied in the US at a US-based institution for 2 years, you can submit a TOEFL or IELTS waiver. And within the application, when you see that the English language proficiency requirement, there's a button that you can click on for the waiver, and it gives you a full breakdown of what to submit and how to go through that process. So it is in the application and also on our website in the international student portion of the admissions website. So feel free to check those out for more information. As I mentioned, we're looking for a course-by-course evaluation for the transcripts that you've submitted if you've studied anywhere outside of the US or Canada. Again, I apologize for my previous error there. And for any additional information, feel free to check out that website that I've been referring to. I also think that it's important to mention that after today's session, many of us will be reaching out to you. Myself, Jennifer, Betsy, we want to stay connected. And for my component, I'm going to be sending all of you some of these websites that I'm referring to. So no need to worry about writing everything down now. I will be sure to follow up and send you these websites after the webinar is finished today. And as far as scholarships and financial aid, so as you can see, new this year, we have our Global Leader Scholarship. Again, there's a limited number of merit-based scholarships that will be available for the upcoming academic year. So be sure to get your application in by February 1st, if memory serves me correct from the previous slide. Again, more information will become available in spring 2024. There's also a number of external scholarship resources as well. I know for many students, funding is an important area to be able to talk through, how will I fund my education? We do offer some scholarships and opportunities through Johns Hopkins and through the School of Education. But for admissions and financial aid, we also strongly encourage students to look externally as well. There is a whole website, there's a whole web page on our website dedicated just to external scholarships. I know for international students, in many cases, not being able to submit a FAFSA can be an issue, but through some of those external scholarship sources, there are opportunities that you do not need to submit any type of FAFSA or financial aid information. So there are opportunities for international students through that webpage. And again, I will send all of those links out in a follow-up email after today's webinar. So that concludes my portion. I'm going to pass things off to Betsy to talk about tuition and fees.
Thank you, James. And so you're looking at a slide right now that has information on it that comes exactly from our ITGL website. You've heard us mention that website a few times, and official information about our program can be found on the university's ITGL website. And this particular slide is a summary of the tuition and fees required for the ITGL cohort. For the cohort beginning in fall 2024, which is what we're talking about today, tuition for the 33 credit focus areas is $55,044. That is the tuition. And then there's a $1,500 technology fee, $1,500. For the TEFL focus area, and you've heard Jennifer mention that focus area is 35 credits. So it has 2 additional courses in it. So the tuition is slightly higher, $58,380 plus the technology fee. Now, a very important part of the tuition for our program is that an enrollment deposit is required when you accept an offer of admission. So there is a $3,000 non-refundable enrollment deposit that's required. And we always tell students to be sure that you understand the ITGL policies around refunds and the enrollment deposit so that you're very careful about your decision making. So that is a non-refundable $3,000 enrollment deposit. The deadline for payment of the full tuition is June 14th, 2024. So that's unusual. And we do get questions from incoming students. Why is it that we collect the full tuition before the program even begins? And I'd like to answer that question right now. So the reason is that, as you heard Jennifer say in the very, very beginning, this ITGL cohort program is a one-year program. It is the courses are structured in such a way that students go through the program as a cohort. And so if for some reason a student were not able to, the student got halfway through the program and couldn't continue to pay tuition, there would be no guarantee that we'd be able to offer the same courses in the same sequence the following year. So it's really a protection for our students that we do it this way, but I do realize that that's a question that comes up. And so I wanted to make sure that we addressed it here. You're welcome also to reach out to me if you have any additional questions about that. So we have an unusual benefit connected with the ITGL cohort, and that is that we work with a partner by the name of ACEE, American Chinese Education Exchange. It's an organization that helps us as we do outreach to our prospective students. They will conduct the screening videos. So that's one of the requirements for admission. You will be working with our ACE colleagues when you do that. Other benefits of our working with ACE is they provide housing services and career coaching services, which I'll address on the next slide, to any students who are interested. So this is an option. This is not a requirement that you work with ACE for housing, but we have found over the years that so many of our students really appreciate being able to work with ACE for housing, because what it means is that students do not have to come to the United States a few weeks before the beginning of the semester and search for an apartment on their own and then furnish the apartment on their own. There is not a lot of housing around the Johns Hopkins University campus. And so we have decided that this would be a tremendous benefit for our students to make this available if they are interested. So for more information, you can, I'm not going to read all of the words on this slide, but the housing services include the fact that the housing is right across the street from the campus. Our students walk from housing right to the library. It's just so close to their courses, to the library, to eating facilities, just very, very convenient location. The apartments are furnished also, so you don't have to worry about getting that set up. And all utilities are also included. So it's very wonderful opportunity, again, for those who are interested, not a requirement. And on the next slide, we can go ahead and move to that now.
Betsy, if I can interject really quick, a question came up about this slide, and I figured it would be a good time to ask.
Sure.
Because of ACEE, does that mean that there are only Chinese students in this program, or is this program open to any international students?
Oh my heavens, thank you. I'm so glad you interjected. Oh my goodness. As James said in the very beginning, we have just today, we had 20 applicants from 23 different countries who are interested in this program. And we are so excited about the ability to make this program available to students from all over the globe. You heard Jennifer say a few moments ago, she herself is traveling quite a bit this year in order to do outreach to applicants in many different countries. Jennifer, do you want to say a few additional words in answer to that question?
Yeah, sure. I would say a couple things. So one, of course, we have Chinese students in the program. We also have alumni that come from different countries as well. I'm meeting with one of our alumni when I'm in Thailand, actually, one of the ITGL alumni there. So the program primarily serves like international students, but it's from any country. And then I would also say that ACEE's name, because the word Chinese is in their title, they are a global company and like working all over the world. It's technically ACEE Global and are working in many nations. So
thank you.
Well, welcome to everyone.
Welcome to everyone. Thank you for that, James, and thank you for the question. Very, very good question. So if we want to, so here we are on the slide that gives description of the career services that ACE provides. These services are in addition to services that the School of Education also provides in terms of helping our students across the whole School of Education in terms of preparing for what comes next after the degree. But ACE, we have found over the years, again, many students like some one-on-one career coaching. And so we make that available to students who are interested. Yeah. So the next slide is a visual description of the steps for our newly admitted students in the ITGL cohort. So when an offer of admission is made, students would be expected to accept the offer and pay the enrollment deposit within 2 weeks of accepting the offer. And then we would be sending an acknowledgement form. And that's a process that you would work on with me. I manage that process. And you could think of the acknowledgement form. James, you can go ahead to the next slide too. The acknowledgement form is like a package. It's like an offer package, because what it will do is describe all of the steps that are required for a newly admitted student who has accepted the offer of admission. What are the requirements of what you need to do first, second, third, all the way through the payment of the full tuition by June 14th. So that's what is described on these 8 steps. And again, as James said, you don't need to write all this down right now. Once you, those of you who would be receiving an offer of admission and accepting that offer, you would receive this as part of your acknowledgement form. So you would have a copy of this. And you're always welcome to reach out to me if you have additional questions about any of these steps.
Thank you. Thank you, Betsy. Yeah. And thank you, Jennifer. So wrapping up our time together today, we're going to finish with a Q&A. So I will kick things off for us here. I'm also going to be progressing to the next slides, just so that way you can also get our contact information. I think that that's really important, that everyone attending today knows how to stay in touch with us to be able to ask questions moving forward. So I will progress to the next few slides here in just a moment. But for the questions that came in, and again, please feel free, continue submitting questions to us. But first question is, will I have an eligible teaching certificate in the US after finishing this program?
I can hop in and answer that. So the answer to that question is no. So we do not go through the steps that are required, state in the different states to actually make sure that you have a U.S. teaching certificate when you finish the program. That would be something that you would need to pursue separately.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next question. So this student, their background, they have a bachelor in economics. Do they need to take any extra courses, or are there any extra prerequisite requirements to be able to apply for the ITGL program?
No, I'm excited that your degree is in economics. Actually, we definitely have students in the program right now that have bachelor's degrees in economics, and I find actually that for students that come into the program either pursuing entrepreneurship, the econ background is very useful. And then in addition, I think just that economic view of the world, and also many of the research methods that you learn with a bachelor's degree in economics position you well to use those tools as you're learning about educational content. So no additional requirements are necessary.
Thank you, Jennifer. Our next question, do you consider GRE scores? I couldn't find anywhere to report my GRE scores on the application portal, but I sent my scores. This is a great question, and so we do not require students to submit GRE scores. So I can hear all of your cheers of appreciation from all across the globe. We do not require GRE scores as a component to the application process. Just what you saw listed on that admission screen, those are the key components to being considered for this program. So no GRE scores.
James, can I jump in there though?
Sure,
And I would say the no GRE score requirement is consistent with many programs, particularly in this day and age, that GRE scores are absolutely not required. This student is saying that, or this potential applicant is saying that they submitted the scores. And so if you do submit them, we do receive them. So for example, this past year, we actually we invited some students to take research methods classes with our PhD students, and looking at those GRE scores were one of the things that we used in actually assessing people's preparedness, for example, to take a statistics course with a doctoral student. So if you do send them, we do see them. So know that they'll get here, but also know that they're not required, and it won't hurt your application in any way by not submitting them.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. I'm gonna, and I can bounce back and forth slides. I'm gonna progress to the next one just so that way, sharing both contact information and then feel free, Jennifer, after I know I'm talking about your travels and whatnot. So I'll go back as needed. But our next question. So this student is from Pakistan. They've done their undergraduate degree here in the US in New York. They're wondering if they could receive an application fee waiver. Sadly, we do not offer application fee waivers, so I apologize for any inconvenience. But we don't offer any application fee waivers. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news there. But thank you for your question. Next question. I guess, Betsy, this would be for you. What is the cost for the ACEE housing and career coaching?
Yes. So the housing cost depends on what type of apartment you would select. If you selected a 2-bedroom, the fee for that would be approximately $18,000 for the whole year. If you selected a studio, it would be a little bit more. If you selected a 1-bedroom, that would be the highest, and that would be about $24,000. So that includes everything for the whole year. And if you are interested in more information about this, you can find it on the ITGL cohort site. And the link for that you'll be seeing often. And it's in this presentation, and we'll be sending that to you as well. And you can always reach out to me if you have more questions about that. You can actually see the layout of the apartments and exactly what they look like. All of that's on the ITGL cohort site. The cost for career coaching is $6,000 for the whole year. So I hope that answers your questions about that.
Thank you so much, Betsy.
Yeah.
For our next, I'll say set of questions, we have a few, so I'm going to break things up and split them up little by little. So the first question, is this program classified as a STEM program, and does it provide an extension of the OPT period? So is this a STEM OPT program, I guess, is question number one.
So the short answer is no. In the past, we have had a STEM focus area, and I would keep an eye on us for that to emerge again in the future, but it does not actually, it's not classified as a STEM program because it does not have enough hard science in the program. And so it does not qualify students for an extension on the OPT.
Thank you, Jennifer.
All students would have a 1-year OPT, rather than the extension.
Thank you, Jennifer. I guess a follow-up to that, in what fields are international students permitted to work in the US with that 1 year of OPT if they're interested in doing so?
Betsy, I don't know if you have a follow-up here. I think they can work in any field that they have the 1 year. The 1 year OPT. I don't think there's a requirement or restriction around it at all.
That's correct. And our experience in seeing what our students have actually done, what they are doing during their OPT, it bears that out. That there's tremendous flexibility, and because of the flexibility in the program, students develop keen interest in different areas, and we provide the support for that as students go through the program. Your instructors, certainly Jennifer herself, but your instructors and everyone who works in the program provides you the information that you need through the university's Office of International Services. So there's we know this is one of the most valuable experiences for students after the program. So we like to provide the support you need for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. Does this program provide curricular practical training or CPT opportunities for international students during the semesters?
So my answer to that is like no, like technically, right? So we don't actually provide CPT, but I would say what we do instead of having CPT is that we have extended learning experiences that put students in applied experiences and educational environment without requiring the CPT.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just if you can reiterate one more time, Jennifer, just to confirm, this program does not offer teaching licensure upon completion.
Teaching licensure is not part of this program. It would be nearly impossible, I think, for our students to do the student teaching and licensure requirements while doing an intensive one-year master's program like ITGL. So it would need to be something that's done separately.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So for our next question, or I should say our last question that we have submitted, I might need a little bit more follow-up, but the question is, what's the chance of getting an I'm guessing unconditional offer if one meets all the minimum requirements based on past year's statistics? So I guess either Betsy, Jennifer, I guess talking through a little bit about like the overall admission statistics maybe of you know, how many applications we get. I think that might be what the student's referring to, but I'm not sure. And if we don't answer, feel free to just submit some follow-up in the Q&A as well.
I'm going to jump in and try, but I think Betsy knows the admissions data for our program better than anyone. So she probably can do a more detailed response than me. I would just say that it's actually hard, as a statistician myself, it's hard to look at the admission statistics over the past 5 years because of like COVID and like just there's been high demand for our program post-COVID, and we've increased the spaces and admitted more students. Like we've had a larger cohort this year than in previous years. I guess I can just say a couple, so I can't give you a number. I guess my feeling is this. Unlike previous years, we have chosen not to increase the number of spots in ITGL for next year. So we will not be, growing the program again. So demand has been increasing, but the spots will not increase for the 24-25 academic year. And then I would also just say that as in with any rolling admissions program, that slots sort of fill up earlier in the year, so entry can get more competitive the longer that you wait. So those are just two sort of caveats from me. Betsy?
I really can hardly think of anything to add to that, Jennifer. That was really helpful. I do think it's important to remember is that we are a relatively new program, and yet because of the content of the program, the way we offer it, in the fact that it's at Johns Hopkins University, that it's right here in the midst of some of the major cities in the United States, it is tremendously popular. And the fact that Jennifer is going to be going out, first in what you said, Thailand and Vietnam, and then probably in the spring, even beyond there. So just getting the word out, continuing to get the word out, so that as we attract students, we're attracting the very, very best that we can find globally from everywhere. So I think that's a little bit I might add.
Thank you so much, ladies. So that looks like all the submitted questions that we've received. I guess if I can just end with one final question that I get very frequently in admissions for all of our programs, as an applicant, what can I do to stand out to our faculty reviewers? Is there any tips, tricks, advice that you would give to students as far as how can I submit the best application possible to stand out to the faculty that will be reviewing my application?
So are you asking that question, James?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I thought you were just offering your own wisdom. No.
Sorry, I was posing as a student there. I apologize. Yes. just any helpful admission application tips that you can provide. Sorry about that, ladies.
I mean, I have a couple, and I'm going to let Betsy, again, has been doing admissions for so long. I guess one of the things that I really look for when I'm reading essays is voice. That I'm looking for like an authentic student voice in the essays, which means I want to learn and get to know you in your essay, right? So I want to know about like what you care about, why you want to be here, not just that it's your dream school, but like that, like a specific reason, like why is this program helping you fulfill like what you want to do in the world? And I think anytime that you can reference specific experiences just to explain like why you want to be here or explain what you want to do, that it's really helpful, because it just gives me, I have this limited amount of time, looking at your application, and I really want to know who you are and why you want to try to transform education around the world.
Yeah. And the only thing I might add, but I think it resonates, it's similar to what Jennifer just said, is that take advantage of the fact that we all want to help you through this process and we want to get to know you. So, for example, if you have questions about anything, you can reach out to any one of us. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to James and his team in the admissions office. Jennifer's available, all of you, and we get to know you. We get to know you during this process, all of us. And it's amazing to me over the years, I interact so much by email with students during the summer and, before you come. And then once you get here, just to get a chance to meet you face to face, it is very heartwarming. So I guess the message is to feel confident in knowing that we are all excited about getting to know you through this process and wanting to make sure this is the right fit for you and that you're the right fit for the program. That's, I think, so for your success. So I would add that.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautifully said, Jennifer and Betsy. I guess just to wrap things up, if there is anything else that you'd like to share with, Jennifer, your travels, or I think there's one final slide that might be yours, Betsy. That is all that I have for Q&A. So feel free to take things away, I guess.
Yeah. So here, you guys can see, I've mentioned this. I am going to be in Asia the next 2 weeks. I leave tomorrow night. You'll see I'm only in Thailand for a couple of days, but I am meeting with some ITGL alumni there and some different universities and governments. So if you happen to be from Thailand and you want to try to grab a coffee with me in Bangkok and like talk more about your interests and learn more about the program, feel free to reach out. Same thing, I will be doing various things and guest speaking at various universities in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City for the remainder of the trip, but I definitely have time to like meet up and talk with anyone who's seriously interested in the program and like wants to learn more and tell me more about your own experience. So you can email me at my email address, which is at the top of the slide there, if you want to try to find a time.
Jennifer.
And maybe just concluding with the very last two slides, these are email addresses for whom you can contact in the admissions office. My colleague, Carol Herman, myself. Again, you don't have to write these down. You'll see these when you see the video and you'll hear from us. Yeah. And then on the very final slide, you'll see this is the visual on the website that we've been calling the ITGL cohort site, the cohort site. And this site has so much information on it about the program. You heard Jennifer talk about our alums who serve as ambassadors. You would find their email addresses, photos of them, what they're doing, where they are. All of that's on this cohort site. So lots of information there for you. We're doing our very, very best to put as much information out there for you in as many different formats as possible so that you can make a really good decision. We know this is a big decision for you and your families. And so we want to give you as much information as we possibly can. And if you still have questions after today, reach out to us and we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you, everyone, again, for being here with us today. It is truly our pleasure to be able to connect with you. And we look forward to continuing that conversation. Today is just the first step in this journey. So again, please feel free to reach out, stay connected. We are truly with you every step of the way through this process. Thank you again for attending today. We look forward to having you at future webinars and programs, and have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.